Alright, maybe not. That that just didn't sound good at all. Well, what's up, y'all? We're here with the second episode of the Sunday Riff Refinery, and today we're gonna write something different than last week. This is gonna be more of a, I don't know, an old school nu metal kind of track. And when I say nu metal, I'm thinking of bands like Crossfade, Trust Company, even bands like Seether, Breaking Benjamin, and things like that. A little bit of Linkin Park mixed in there as well. If any of you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this riff already, but we're going to kind of start it from scratch today because we're going to write drums a little bit differently as well. But before we do, let's jump into Logic here and I'm going to show you what we're working with. So as far as the tracks go, we're going to name this first one Tracking because this is going to be the main track that we track with. And what I've got going on that is the STL Tones Tonality Josh Middleton, specifically because of these two amps right here. We're actually going to be using the Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier model inside of this. We might cycle through some presets for it as well. Man, that looks really good. But what I like to do when I start writing something is I like to get a little bit of a guitar tone going first, and then I start going through and duplicating tracks and everything. So that's what we've got with the raw tone here. Let's go ahead and go into some of Josh's presets. So we're on amp 3. Let's do amp 3 rhythm 1. So that sounds pretty sick. That's a preset that we can work with. And again, we're not mixing right now. We are just writing. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. We're going to pan all of these. All right, now let's go ahead and click on our tracking track again. Get rid of all of that and listen. All right, so 200 BPM is definitely going to do it for us. What we will do now is we're just going to start writing. I don't have the drum tracks for this yet. I'm just going to write this one riff at a time and then we'll write drums to each of them as well. And I'm really thinking of that older, like Seether, Trust Company, Breaking Benjamin, and so on and so forth. A little bit of the Linkin Park with those kind of chords, and that's why I'm going for a really thick like dual rectifier tone here, which I will clean up a little bit when I go through and do the mix for it. But right now I really dig how the dual rec sounds for it, because if you look back at what those bands were using a lot back then, it was dual rectifiers, it was triple rectifiers, there was a lot of diesel amps and things of that sort as well, and not as many of the like 5150s and everything, which are very good for modern metal and cut through super well, but they're not as thick sounding as those Mesas were. So the first part of this riff actually loops for a full 2 measures or so, and let's go ahead and listen to what that sounds like. Sorry if y'all hearing the click, because we're going to listen to the click a lot today. All right, so the first part of the riff goes a little bit like this. All right, there's track number 1. This is the way that I like to write things, so I'm gonna go ahead and drag that down, and then we're gonna go ahead to guitar right, and now we'll hear that I panned that the entirely wrong way. So let's go ahead and fix that so my brain doesn't explode. Now that we've got that all fixed so my head isn't spinning, let's try and double track this. Already messed up. Okay, so that sounds pretty good the way that it is. Now the next riff is the same exact thing, but I'm changing up the way it's played. It's not a single note where it's gonna be. So same exact thing, we're just changing and adding a few more notes into the chord itself there. We gotta turn on the click, Ryan, we gotta turn on the click. All right, do the same thing as last time. We're gonna double track that. And I know some people might say, oh, why aren't you double tracking that on the same track and just dragging them down over and over? Because I like to hear them played left and right as I'm playing them, so that way I know that they're a good take. Now we're going to go ahead and go into the drums. We need some drums for this, right? Let me turn off the guitar so we don't hear it. And let's go ahead and open up EZDrummer. So EZDrummer has a ton of loops and everything built in, but we're not going to necessarily use those today. Let's go ahead and add to the death metal kit because it just sounds good. Okay, so we've got the guitars down, and instead of using loops today, we're actually going to write some MIDI ourselves. So let's go ahead and do that. Right click and create a MIDI track. open that up, and then we're gonna find out where everything's at. So this is where I switch over to the trackpad. I've been using this Logitech mouse, which is great, but when it comes to zooming in and everything, the trackpad is really just kind of clutch. So that's why I keep it around. Let's just do a basic run in here real quick and we'll get it going. Okay, let me make this a little bit smaller so we can see. And let's go ahead and do some cymbals. Let's do some closed hi-hats in here. Those might be too closed. Let's go ahead and drag and listen. Oh, too open, so that's good enough. Yeah, those will work there. And let's go ahead and drag, copy, and we'll start pasting them. We need to get a few of these in here. All right, so that's about halfway through. Let's see how that sounds. All right, so I can already tell you that I want to add some double kicks in there. So let's go ahead and see. So let's start it there. Oops. Let's start it here. So let's start it right here, and let's do a couple of them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to select all of these and I'm going to paste them again because I can already tell that this is not fitting the way that I want it to. The guitars are just not sounding like they should with drums, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play along with these so that the guitar actually fits. I'm gonna leave the metronome on as well. But all I do is duplicate those for the entire run of this, and then we're going to back out of here and we're going to delete both of those guitar tracks. I just don't like how they sound with it. And we're just going to play along with the drums and the click track. So I'll turn the click track back on. And this is one of the ways that I like writing guitars. I'll write the riff, then I'll program the drums, and then I'll re-record the riff to it to make it fit the drums. And honestly, it feels easier to write the guitar once it's got drums than it did to just the click. Let's do the double track. All right, so we'll need to add a fill to that. We're not going to do that yet, though. We're just going to move on to the next riff, and we're going to create another MIDI region here, and let's see what we can do working with this one. Let's do a 4 to the floor type beat. Let's go. That might be too slow. Let's see. Oops, too high up. And then we'll do some open hats there. Too open? No, that'll work. Do we do halftime on those, or do we do more? Let's go ahead and listen. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Okay, so let's go ahead and start duplicating all of this to make it fit. And then we'll have to add some like embellishments and everything in there at some point, but we'll see how this works. So, okay, let's listen to how that sounds. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of a fill here. Let's see how that sounds. Too fast, too fast. Let's do a slow fill here. And one more. It doesn't sound great, but it works for now, trust me. All right, so I think we'll need to scrap that back piece of it, and it needs to go into a higher energy piece. And so let's go ahead and delete. So we've got just the first half of it, and then we'll do back into that same beat from before. But let's do it with a crash. You know, honestly, this all needs a little bit more. This is just too slow. Let's go ahead and delete all of these. I don't like any of it, so. We just need a little bit more oomph, more energy, more passion. All right, that's gonna do the trick. So we'll just keep doing that until we get to the faster part. Okay, so we need a fill. Trying to think of what I want there. Don't come at me for these not being humanized. We're just writing right now. Okay. Okay, that could work. Now we'll go into this one and we will copy pasta that all the way to the end. And let's go into a crash cymbal here. So let's grab all of these and we'll copy them up. All right, let's hear it. Let's see how this sounds now. All of this has to go and we need a good old fill. Gonna be the world's worst fill, I know. And then we'll do kicks the whole way. Whoops. And those kicks are a little bit too on beat, so, whoops, zoomed in way too far there. So let's drag them just slightly off beat so we can actually hear them. Okay, so the next part of the riff is fun. So very high energy, right? Let's go ahead and record that because I'm tired of programming drums. Wrong again. You can hear that Linkin Park influence there at the end. Let's go ahead and double track that though. Did it again, wow. So now that we've got that in there, let's go ahead and get some drums for that as well. All right, let's see how that sounds. I think that works, but we're gonna throw some double bass in this. I know that's not really fitting for it, but we're gonna throw some double bass into the second half of it. So let's go ahead and complete this real quick. I wanna use something a little bit different than we used in the first verse. There we go, that's great. All right. That sounds ridiculous. I love it. And we're going to just continue this till the end. And we need one more. We're gonna need a fill there too for sure, but let's listen to that. Taka, taka, ticka, 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 ticka. It's like the only fill I know how to do. Okay, and we gotta remove that and that. That's actually not bad. Okay, let's do straight up beats now. Let's go ahead and copy that all, but then we're going to change up the kicks and we're going to change up the cymbals here. Okay, we're going to get rid of, actually no, we're going to keep the snare placement, but we're going to add just a ton more kicks and see how that sounds. We might even go ahead and do this just straight double bass. Just for the hell of it, just for, you know, the shits and giggles. Okay, let's listen to that from the top. It sounds too much the same, so let's go ahead and actually select all of those kicks. And then we'll zoom in a little bit again, but we're going to copy them all to the right and just make this a double kick section. So let's hear that sound. All right, maybe not. That that just didn't sound good at all. Oh, sorry, that just sounded obnoxious. I'm even gonna leave the fill there. We're not gonna go through and make another fill right now because I don't know what. Let's listen. All right, I've got an idea here. So let's go ahead and cut everything from this section. Let's go ahead and cut these, but let's do the same to the guitars. So in the guitars right there, let's go ahead and flatten both of these, and let's go ahead and take those back to right there and see how that. I think we need to go back a little bit further. My guitars are like not great there. Let's go ahead and retrack the guitars actually. So we're gonna retrack the guitars there to this because I have an idea that I need to retrack these properly for it to work. So let's go ahead and retrack it like this. Remember, save your session, y'all. Save your session. All right, so that one went well. All right, I did something weird there. Let's go ahead and delete both of those. I think I hate them. This is the writing process, me hating everything. But what I did was a little bit weird at the beginning. I need to do... But what I was doing is... Which is just boring. So let's go ahead and listen to that and play that. Let's go ahead and do the next one. And then I need a fill there. Is what I'm thinking in my head. So let's write just the fill with this. I'm not great with like the theory side of rhythm, so we got to figure this out. I think that's what I want. All right, that took way too long, way longer than I care to admit. So now we need to record the next piece. Let's see if this even goes into it though. Let's see if that works. We'll start a little bit further back here. Works for me, and I remember that this chorus that I wrote is in a different timing. So it equals out to 4/4 at some point, but it's a little bit different. All right, let's try and play that in. Alright, so let's go ahead and just write the drums to that, because that one is weird for me to write to the click for whatever reason. So we're going to go ahead and write drums to it now and see how we get along with it. Okay, so I want the drums to kind of mirror the guitar in this one. So I feel like where we're going with this one, if we listen back, is just very, very simplistic like that, because it just fits the groove there. The kick's going with it. What if that works though? And then... Let's listen to this from the top. Okay, let's not do that. Dun 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 dun. Let's see if that fits there. Okay, cool. So that's what we want. Let's go ahead and listen to it with some cymbals now. Cool. Crash that I wanted there. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so that's the first half. Let's go ahead and copy that to the next half. Let's listen to that without changing anything real quick. Okay, that's where it gets tripped out. That's where I need to change it. Actually, that's where I need to play it different. Because I think I played it too sloppy there. Let's go ahead and play along with that real quick and make sure that I didn't just play that too sloppy. So let's go ahead and play along with the whole thing real quick. Yeah, I think the drums actually still need to change there a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. Let's try this. I have something in my head. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's go ahead and just add some double kick here. Just send it. No, never mind. Didn't like that too much. And I think we'll do dun 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 boom and just end it like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. And we'll do a flam like that. And we'll do the kicks there as well. All right, y'all, so now that we've got that all said and done, let's go ahead and listen to that from the top. I didn't record bass today just because I don't have strings on my bass at the moment, and I don't like programming bass because I'm not good at it. But thank y'all for joining me on yet another Riff Refinery ride. I'm gonna be back again next week with another riff, maybe a little bit more technical next week. I was just really feeling the old school nu metal stuff today, so let's go ahead and listen to what we just did. All right, so yes, I know I need to work on that fill towards the end there, but that's just what I had come up with at the time. And honestly, this one really gives me some great ideas for vocals and everything going forward. So if you would like to see how I would mix and master this, definitely let me know down in the comments, because I can do that in another video. This video has already gotten long enough here, but I would like to do a video like that in the future here. And if this was helpful at all, let me know, because I showed you my process for writing not only the guitars, but also the drums. Bass would be identical to this. I would literally just create another track, throw Parallax X on it, and just record the bass to the whole song and be good to go. Probably nail it in one take, because this is a very simple song. But again, I hope y'all enjoyed this, and if this kind of stuff is helpful to you, please go ahead and like, please go ahead and subscribe. You know the whole deal here. Help me out, and I'll continue making videos like this as well. But until next time, thank y'all for watching. Peace and love.